RP Raghupati. I'm RP Raghupati. Welcome to everyone. Despite the weather, many of you have traveled far to be here and to participate in the center launch as well as the analytics symposium. I think we are more organized than Occupy Wall Street, except for one difference: we have to vacate at 1 p.m., so we won't be able to stay here beyond that. Who has traveled the farthest? I just want to give a little gift. Anyone from Florida? Yes, there is it. Canada? Toronto, idea? You're sure you're from Florida, right? Okay, yes. That's it. Ohio, Professor Benema? Yes. That's it. What else? Florida.
Well, I travel from Upper West Side. Does it count?
I come from Central Jersey. Massachusetts, Boston. Yeah, I do. Okay, to keep time, it gives me great honor and pleasure to invite Dr. Friedman, Provost of Fordham University, to make the opening remarks. Dr. Friedman, thank you.
Thank you, RP, and welcome to all of you. As RP mentioned, Occupy Wall Street, they were here last night in the Lincoln Center area, and we weren't sure how to, we were given a notice, the president and myself, Father McShane, that we here at Fordham might be impacted. My inside I was saying, well, this sounds pretty good, and as an administrator of the university, I was trying to keep a different kind of look and feel. So we're here. We sense that they may be back at Lincoln Center later today, but not this morning. So it's you'll all have an opportunity to spend the morning with us here at the university, and you won't have to deal with any outside noise or inconvenience that may have occurred. I'm very, very pleased to be here this morning as all of us launch the Center for Digital Transformation at Fordham. This is a really exciting opportunity for Fordham University and for our faculty and students, and it's an outstanding achievement for the Graduate School of Business and for all of us at the university and the Gabelli Schools of Business. I would like to extend a warm welcome first to our distinguished guests from IBM. We are spending more and more time together over the last weeks and months, and we were speaking about it downstairs in a meeting that Dean Rapiccioli and Dean Gauchi and I had with some visitors from the Ukraine, and we spoke about the IBM partnership as one that we are very proud of, and as it's deepening and becoming more sustainable, it brings us great pleasure. I thank you, especially my colleagues from IBM, and for all of you for taking the time to be here and to join in this important conversation about the fundamental ways in which the global marketplace is being transformed by digital technology. At Fordham, we greatly value our productive partnerships with IBM and other corporate leaders, and we look forward to today's symposium on next generation advanced analytics. As we all know, this very rapidly changing global environment, digital technology has a vital role to play in promoting growth, raising the standard of living and reducing poverty. Digital-enabled pandemic surveillance systems and global food supply chains are only two examples among many of the impact of digital technologies in the collective storage and dissemination of critical information at the macro level. From the farmer in Bangladesh who uses the internet now to trade in commodities markets, and the fisher people in India who use mobile technology to optimize fish catches of the day. I was reading this today, and the person who helped me create this brief remarks, I really wanted to study more about these digital optimization phishing strategies in India, and I said to her that I'm going to take a few days this weekend to learn more about these techniques. I'm sure my IBM friends are more aware of it, but for me it was interesting. But for all of you, there's also a great deal of interest in the digitization that's taking place among global multinationals, such as Walmart. When I was recently in China, I had an opportunity to visit some of the Walmart global supply chain networks, and I was really quite fascinated by what is going on in the Walmarts in China. This is becoming more and more ubiquitous and pervasive, and it's having an impact on all of what we do. It's enabling a global transformation that has well documented, and IBM has been a primary leader, but many industries, firms, and countries are involved in all of these. The reason for the center, and I'm very pleased to have been a part of the process that led to the formation of the center, key challenges really remain with regard to digital technologies at the individual, organizational, and society level. These issues include the digital divide, the issue of ethics, something that we're very concerned about at a Jesuit Catholic institution, the issues of security and privacy. Fordham plays a primary role in the concerns about digitization and security. We have some key faculty members, our president of our faculty senate, Joel Reidenberg, here today, and many others involved in these issues. Technology sustainability, the effective use of digital technologies for the betterment of human society globally. There is therefore a critical need to study the digital transformation and to teach the next generation of leaders who must have a much more sophisticated grasp of the complex interconnectedness of business and society. And that's what we're here for, to really educate our leaders. And I also wanted to mention Frank Chu and his important role in helping us craft the real strong curricular programming needs of our undergraduate and graduate students in these areas. As a research institution in the Jesuit tradition, Fordham takes very seriously its responsibility to partner with the business community in this process. We are committed to providing intellectual leadership by organizing and managing a collaborative community of scholars, which is what we do here at Fordham University, of executives, society leaders, and students deeply engaged in understanding the role of digital technology in transforming business and society. The Center for Digital Transformation will serve as Fordham's premier resource for information and the role of digital technologies in accomplishing three fundamental transformations: the individual transformation to create an effective human capital in a changing global environment, the business and industry transformation to promote competitiveness, productivity, and growth in the global marketplace, and the societal transformation to build a sustainable global society. The center will accomplish the mission by conducting and disseminating high-impact interdisciplinary research, creating an ongoing dialogue among the various stakeholders, including business executives, and incorporating the understanding of the transformational aspects of digital technologies across the business community. As I said when we established the center a few weeks ago when I introduced our distinguished professor, Falguni Sen, I want to say the same thing here in the sense that it is really my pleasure to introduce Professor RP, because without Professor RP leadership, none of us would be here and none of this would be happening. Almost always our center has a visionary at its lead, as I said many weeks ago when I introduced Falguni, and the same applies here, RP. RP is our Professor of Information and Communication Systems and is the founding director of the Center for Digital Transformation. Dr. RP joined the Fordham faculty in 1998. He earned his MBA and PhD from the University of Texas, Arlington, and an LLM degree in intellectual property and information technology right here at Fordham University. And we're really proud of that, RP, that you are a graduate of our law program, our LLM program, which, by the way, is the most distinguished LLM program in the country, producing graduates around the world who take on leadership positions. RP serves as a co-editor in North America for the International Journal of Healthcare Information Systems and Informatics, and is a senior editor review board member of the International Journal of Information Technologies and Systems Approach. I want to thank RP for his outstanding leadership, and I join Dean David Gauci, Dean Donna Rapaccioli, and all of the faculty of our business schools in acknowledging Professor RP as we celebrate the first public event of the Center for Digital Transformation at Fordham. Congratulations, RP, and thank you very much for all you've done to make this happen.
I want to second Dr. Friedman's welcome to all of you. It really is a wonderful audience, and it's a wonderful morning for Fordham. It's a very special day. I don't think there is a seat, or maybe one or two if you want to come and sit over here. It really is a very important day for Fordham Schools of Business as we launch our newest center, the Center for Digital Transformation. When we think about Fordham's Business School and we think about the role of our centers, we use the centers to bridge the gap between academia and the business professionals. So we try and bring different audiences, different stakeholders together to discuss important issues. From our perspective, together, these two sides can generate knowledge. Knowledge that can inform our students, knowledge that can change the international conversation. Conversation, in this case, about technology, about data and intelligence, and how we can use this data to improve society. I'd like to also thank Professor Raghupathy and our friends at IBM for making today's event possible, and for being a true example of how a successful partnership can enable change. I have no doubt that today's panel discussion and the conversations that follow will provide valuable insights to all of us. When you think about it, though, the Center for Digital Transformation really faces a unique challenge among our faculty centers, because it focuses on a phenomenon that changes so quickly that it challenges all of us to keep up. Every time we turn around, technology has improved, become better, become faster, and in many cases, become smaller in physical size. I think about the very first cell phone I had, and it was really clunky, and now I can slip it into my pocket and you barely can know that it's there. But I think more importantly, the way that people use technology changes even faster. Giving new technology to people is somewhat like planting an invasive species in a jungle. You put it down as a seed, you turn your back for a few minutes, and suddenly, without doing a thing, it's everywhere, wrapping itself around things you never intended it to, in ways that you never imagined possible. For something we associate with wires and cables and zeros and symbols, technology actually grows quite organically. And it's our responsibility as business academics to study how technologies of organic spread and new advances can be harnessed to do good, to solve problems. And that means smart use of data. That means critical reasoning and turning data into information, meaningful information. And this is a task that I'm proud to leave in the very capable hands of RP and his partners from IBM, as well as his scholar-in-residence, who I'd like to ask now to stand and be recognized, Mr. Robert Gatch. Bob is Managing Director of Global Markets at Accenture. And he'll be sharing his insights throughout the year with our students and our faculty and our alumni. I'd also like Karen Parrish, the Vice President of Industry Solutions at IBM, who serves as this year's Executive in Residence, to please stand and be recognized. Thank you, Karen. We are truly grateful for all of your support as we use the center to solve the world's problems. Thank you, RP.
Thank you, Dr. Friedman, and thank you, Dean Rappacioli. On being informed about the new center, one of our alumni wrote, one of my former students wrote to me, I'm very excited about the opportunity to be a part of this organization, and then it gets grander. New York City needs it, the world needs it, and so does Fordham. I think he's very sincere because he doesn't need an A from me anymore. Alex, I think, is over there. Will you stand up? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to be brief in my comments, but kind of introduce the next part of our agenda, which is the symposium, so we can get to the distinguished speakers. Our primary goal of the center is to examine the role of technology in general and digital technologies in particular in enabling sustainability at various levels. So that's one of the objectives, looking at this broad concept of sustainability, whether it's the business, the city, country level, or global sustainability. Recent articles in the New Scientist and The Economist, for example, talk about how cell phones, mobile technologies are revolutionizing the developing world. For example, there's a pilot study with Med Africa, which is a simple messaging system, and it has the potential to provide medical advice and direct communication with doctors. Likewise, our cell phone-based systems are being researched to bring cheap solar power in Kenya and other countries in Africa as well. But we don't have to go that far. We can apply these technologies to remote monitoring of senior citizens' health in our 5 boroughs right here. Right? We can set up information technology based business process centers that can provide IT services. E-democracy with digital social media is another example. Therefore, we felt that to focus on this very important objective, we would, in collaboration with IBM, bring together a distinguished group of speakers and panelists to help us understand one key category of the digital technology, namely analytics. In my opinion, IBM via the Smarter Planet initiatives has demonstrated how analytics can be applied effectively to meet many of the challenges of sustainability, such as the efficient management of energy and power, smart transportation. For example, there's a pilot testing of smart meters in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, urban planning, smart city design, and effective public health delivery as well. So serendipitously or by design, indeed, today's speakers are going to talk to us about these very applications and issues in the public sector, law enforcement, and smart medical care. Much remains to be done, and we hope the center, in enduring partnerships with industry, such as with IBM's academic initiative and other academic institutions and nonprofits, can provide leadership and be ahead of the curve in seeking answers to some of these questions. Well, what are some of the questions? What organizational forms will emerge to enable this transformation? What knowledge systems are required and should be in place for the effective management of this transformation? What are the possible rebound effects of technology? How does digital technology drive innovation and social entrepreneurship? And finally, what are the necessary skills and knowledge our students need to possess to function in these exciting but turbulent times? Hope you'll join us on this great journey of discovery as we go forward. At this time, I wish to thank the large number of Fordham people who helped work tirelessly to help put the symposium together. The list is long, and I'm sure the Oscar music will usher me out very quickly. But special thanks goes to Bob Dree. Where are you, Bob? Somewhere. Okay, Bob Dree, who really worked very hard to bring us to this point. All my annoying email messages. So on behalf of Fordham Center for Digital Transformation in the Schools of Business, I welcome the distinguished speakers and panelists. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedules to come and participate and share your insight with us. One little mistake, there are additional PhDs on the panel, and I forgot to add the suffixes, but I hear in industry you don't care much about suffixes. Okay, with that, I invite Karen Parrish to give the keynote. speech.
I'm not sure which one is the presentation, so I'm going to let the specialist handle that. While I say good morning, and maybe I should use the mic. The wireless. I'll just do this. It's a great honor for me to be here today on so many levels. I can't even begin to tell you. First and foremost, I am really honored to be part of your executive in residence program. That is incredibly meaningful to me. So thank you very, very much. This relationship between Fordham University and IBM has been one that we've been working on for a number of years, and I just got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time to become part of this over the last year or so. And it's especially meaningful because I am an alumna of Fordham University, and I have very phenomenal, thank you, memories about my experiences here. And most importantly, those that led me to realize that anything was possible. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything. And it's about working as part of a team, and it's about being part of a community who are looking on behalf of the greater good. And I think that I have taken that with me throughout my career at IBM and certainly through my family life. So we talk about analytics. It's a very tiny word that has a huge umbrella of meaning. And you can go in a million different directions when you talk about analytics. But I'm going to take you down a specific path. And what I'd like to do as sort of the person setting the stage for today's discussions is I'd like to give you a sense for what does IBM mean when we say analytics? Where are we investing? And that's important on two levels because as the curriculum evolves here at Fordham, part of what we'd like to do is ensure that we can continue to help you develop that curriculum in a way that we really feel is where the world is going and how analytics gets leveraged to solve some of the more critical and difficult problems in our world today. In addition, I'll share with you our point of view on what are some of the skills that we think some of the students out there need to be developing in order to play in this world of analytics. And some of the sensitivity around it, as was mentioned earlier, how do we deal with issues of privacy when you're talking about patient care or caring for your citizens? These are very real issues, and we take them as seriously as we expect Fordham will as we continue to take this journey. So for the next 15 minutes or so, take a journey with me. Let's talk a little bit about analytics and let's have a little fun, and then we'll have a wonderful panel discussion. Okay. We'll go that way. Looks like I'm going to stay here. I'm a walker, so this is a little bit of a challenge for me. So, when you think about analytics, the first thing that should come to mind is it's based on data. And it's based on two forms of data, right? There's the structured data and there's the unstructured data. Unstructured being all the paper, all the files that, all the 911 calls that we get through the police department, et cetera. And the data is growing. And we actually have an initiative in IBM focused on big data, if you can imagine, because this is really what we're facing today. We are facing just an incredible growth, an explosion, if you would, of the data world. Thank you. In which we're looking at billions of data points on the internet. We're looking at mobile phones driving billions and billions of unstructured types of data that we would like to get access to and learn from. We're looking at tweets. We're looking at Facebook. Every single time you use your cell phone or your computer or you drive some of your capabilities around working on spreadsheets or whatever it is that you happen to be doing, you're not only using data, but you're creating new data. And the explosion actually causes a challenge for all of us because some of that data is noise, it's not valuable, and yet it's all treated equally in most of the systems in the world. Part of the value, thank you, of analytics is that we can actually parse out the valuable data from the non-valuable data and eliminate the noise so that we can start gaining that information that Donna talked about and true insight into the data. And I'll share with you a little bit how we're going to do that. But part of the challenge that we experience in parsing out that data is understanding that there's a cost statement associated with this big data problem. It costs businesses a lot of money to house this data. It costs businesses a lot of money to parse the data. It costs businesses a lot of money to take value from that data. So wouldn't it be great if upon data capture, we could actually do the parsing immediately? And there's some very interesting things that we're doing to ensure that we only capture the relevant data. And that is part of the big data problem that we're experiencing. Now, we look at big data and we identify 4 specific characteristics. And this is very important as we move into a discussion around analytics, because when you're dealing with petabytes of data, you have to have a true appreciation for the fact that the scale of any kind of technology that you use has to manage petabytes. And you have to start thinking about where do you find the technologies that can help you with petabytes worth of data. And there are many, many companies in the world that are dealing with this today, but the United States government is probably the largest data capture group in the world and is leading the way in helping technology companies like IBM, universities like yourselves, figure out how to handle petabytes of data. We also will identify data in 3 forms, and this is also very important as you're thinking about advanced analytics. There's the descriptive type of analytics, there's the predictive type of analytics, which is what tends to lead you to the more advanced analytic capabilities. And then there's something called prescriptive analytics, and I'll spend a little bit more time on what those mean in a second. We also think that analysis needs to be consistent. Now, why do I say this? Because we can get into analysis paralysis. So you've got to learn and you've got to act, and you've got to learn and you've got to act. And if you learn consistently, then you've probably got a good base for making the decisions that you have. If you're constantly changing your baseline, you aren't going to have value in your data. And then the final thing, and probably the most important, is data needs to be consumable. And I'll tell you, this is a huge challenge for a company like IBM, because technology can have great wow factor, but if it is not consumable by you and me, we won't use it, we won't adopt it, and we won't get the true value of the data. And in the industry world that I live in, where this is true, the PhDs doesn't really matter. What really matters is that we are adding value to the problems that businesses are dealing with. This issue of consumability really hits home. And I'm sure that Chief Beltran will talk about when we first built the solution for the New York City Police Department. I remember the day he looked at me and said, "Let me tell you something, this has to work for cops." You know, and you gotta think like a cop. And that's what consumability is all about, and that's why this initiative is so important. So we've made some investments, actually to the tune of a few $1 billion of investments. There is no secret that IBM will be the leader in this market by design. We recognize what analytics does for our customers. We have the largest private math department in the world to help with the algorithms and the research associated with analytics, and this is the heart of where we'd like to do research with you. And actually, there's a new acquisition underway that's not on this chart. It hasn't closed yet, but we have announced our intent, and that's the acquisition of Algorithmics. And for those of you who work in the financial institutions, you'll know I see a lot of nods that this is really all around managing credit risk, operational risk, market risk. And I2 Group was one of the acquisitions that I recently did in the government sector, focused on investigative intelligence in the criminal aspect. So you're going to see a lot more interesting types of acquisitions from us, not only focused on base analytics, what I call horizontal, but very vertically oriented, trying to get at the heart of some of these critical business problems. Why do we care about analytics? I mean, why did IBM get in this business in the first place? It's pretty basic. I actually spent yesterday with a number of our sales leaders, 250 of them, and I showed them this chart, and I said, if you want to talk to your clients about anything, talk about the bottom of this chart. That those companies that invest in analytical systems outperform consistently those that do not, whether it is on a revenue basis, a profit basis, or a return on investment capital. There is a real return on an investment in this space, and it's a very important thing for our students to understand, because when they move into this space, what we do immediately affects the bottom line of the people in our communities. We have changed how we go to market around analytics. And I wanted to share this with you because I felt it was important that you understood that this is a mission that the IBM company is on. Not any one division, but the entire company, from our services organizations to our software teams to our research teams, working in conjunction to solve some of these problems. And we're not alone on this journey because you are there with us. This is what you all have done thanks to the work of RP and others. You really began this journey with us in 2009, and you've continued to grow your focus and your investment in this space in such a way that it actually very much mirrors what we have been doing. And I know part of that is by design, but I also know that we both recognize that there's a massive future in the space of analytics. And no matter where you start, the journey is long, the journey's exciting, and yet frankly never know where it's going to lead you. And today, of course, we're very honored to be part of this wonderful announcement of a new center. I mean, there isn't anything more exciting to me than to work with institutions like you on solving this problem, because candidly, we can't do it alone. Yes, we invest billions. Yes, we research. Yes, we build products. But our combination of how we innovate with our partners is truly what gets us there. And we view you as a terrific partner, so thank you for doing this with us today. The landscape of analytics is very interesting. Now, what I didn't tell you, because you probably are asking yourself, well, what gives her the credentials to come up here and talk about this? I actually spent 8 years in IBM running our analytics business. And many of the acquisitions that you saw on the chart were done by me and my team in the hopes that we would build true competency in this space. And if you look at this chart, it's kind of interesting on a number of levels. One, when you think about skills, where do you want to invest in building skills? Where do we want our students to invest in building skills? And I actually have a very specific chart on this. But in the descriptive area, I call that rear view analytics. That's looking at the past. That's learning from the past, which is incredibly valuable, by the way. But I'll tell you this, most of the companies out there are still not doing this well. So there's still a lot of opportunity for us to help our collective clients, and when many of our students graduate and become those clients, to help solve some of the problems by learning from the past. But where the true advanced analytics is coming in is in the area that's called predictive and prescriptive. We're trying to determine, based on past analysis, based on what's happening currently, how can we predict what will happen? Some of the forerunners in this space are actually retailers, believe it or not. They really want to know what you're going to buy. And they want to know, based on what you bought yesterday, what are you going to buy tomorrow, and should they put it on sale or not? And they spend millions and millions of dollars building analytical systems to try to figure out what you're going to buy. What's your favorite color today? It's very interesting. Where we find prescriptive analytics is where we're really looking for the best outcome. And this is where you're probably going to see healthcare leading the way, if we can get our act together in healthcare. I also run the public sector, by the way, so that's an area that I love dearly and pay a lot of time focusing on. And I'll tell you, this is going to be a real big problem for us. How do we determine what the best outcome of care needs to be at a particular cost for a particular patient? And we're all different. There may be protocols of care, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so this is part of the challenge of really being much more prescriptive on how we use analytics to define the best outcomes. And you could think of scenarios in multiple industries. I just happen to use one that I thought would be pretty obvious for most of us in the room. And so we think about organizations advancing the concept of business analytics. And frankly, there is not an industry out there that isn't challenged with this and that isn't leveraging this. So whatever your passion, It doesn't matter if you like healthcare, great. If you love education, terrific. If you want to go work in a bank, fantastic. Everyone is struggling with this. And I just gave you a few examples of some places that we're working with our clients on solving some pretty tough problems. And I'll tell you that analytics really does help to turn a company into a transformational institution. Most of our clients who are looking to transform their businesses with new business models, with building new customer sets, whatever it is they're trying to achieve, will invest in analytics to do so. So it's a great place to be, and the timing is perfect. And the good news is there's a lot of technology out there that we can all take advantage of. Not just by IBM, but of course I'm a little partial. So one of the things I thought would be interesting, and when I met with the team, they asked me to be very specific on this point, is to speak to some of the students and the faculty in the room. And so I chose this chart because I thought it would be informative on where we're looking to grow skills in IBM and where you might be looking to grow skills. And you can see they're categorized in a couple of different areas. So we talked about business analytics. These are things like business intelligence, the more prescriptive types of advanced analytics. But there's also federation and integration of data. And it may sound very dry, but I will tell you there's not an industry that I've found, and I know Mary Ann would agree with me, not an industry that I've found that has a handle on their data. It is everywhere. And every time you open up that laptop and you create new data, somebody wants to get access to it, somebody has to govern it, somebody has to secure it, and 90% of the time, most of the IT organizations don't even know you're creating it. So this is a huge problem, lots of opportunities in this space around understanding how to marry structured and unstructured data and integrate it for the use of analytics. We think about warehousing. When I ran the warehousing business, I absolutely hated that word. Because I said, it's a stupid word.